I've got some chrysanthemums, bought as rooted cuttings in spring, potted them up, I've grown them on, they've gone from the greenhouse to cold frame, and now they're ready to put outside. I have to say these are the first chrysanthemums I have had any part in growing for 50 years. And so this both takes me back to my childhood, where we used to grow them in the greenhouse and treat them as completely tender plants. And they were grown with huge care, and also to an age which has all but gone, the age of the 50s and the 60s, where lots and lots of people grow chrysanthemums. So they've gone very much out of fashion. And they're very easy plants to grow. This one is called Pennine Jude. Now, these are not particularly tender. I don't think they would take the full weight of a cold Longmeadow winter, but they're probably tougher than I'm giving them reckon for. And what I want this to do is to grow into a nice bushy plant that will go on flowering into autumn. I'm planting them here as border plants, mixed in the general easy muddle of a border. I want them to meld in. So they're fairly small at the moment. I'm spacing them about a foot or so apart. I'll put another one in there, and hopefully they will fill this area. And I've given them a really sunny spot. It's good soil. It's well drained and yet rich, but this is quite late to be planting out chrysanthemums. Normally here at Longmeadow, sort of Chelsea or just after Chelsea is about right. But we've had a really cold, dry spring and early summer here. And so I've held back on planting out. But actually, once they're up and running, they should be undemanding plants. Now, the real purpose of growing these is to see if I can reconnect with chrysanthemums, to see if the fact that I haven't grown them for 50 years has been a mistake and an absence. But the only way you find these things out is if you try them. I think it's been a good year for roses, and I love roses of any kind. What's been good for them is the slightly cold spring, which has meant that they've come out slower and lasted longer. It's been dry, so if they're prone to black spot, that's less of a problem. And there's been enough sun to enjoy them. Now, I've got lots of roses in the garden of different types, but these three were something of an experiment a couple of years ago. I've never grown yellow roses before, so I chose these three, which are Charles Darwin, the Pilgrim, and Crown Princess Margarita. And they all seem to work in well together. And what I like about them, these are modern roses, is that they keep on flowering. Now, at the moment, roses are absolutely my favourite thing in the garden. One of the many joys of this time of year is that the harvest really starts to increase and roll in. These broad beans were sown in February, and I planted them out in April. So although they're not very big plants, they're fairly stunted, they've got plenty of beans to harvest. Broad beans are much nicer when you pick them small. In fact, if you see, the beans are small and tender, and actually you can eat these raw. They're sweet, whereas when they get bigger, they have a slightly bitter casing. And when they get really big, you have to peel them. But the luxury of having a small broad bean, even if you just mix up a few in a pasta dish, is really good. And that's one of my favourite ways to eat this time of year, just taking from the garden, not complicating it, not making it too much of a big deal, just keeping it really simple. These peas are called Carabi de Mouzane, and they are a flat pod variety. So you cook them, pod and all. Just lightly blanch them in either a bit of oil or butter. They're a real treat. It's like eating asparagus. Absolutely lovely. I've got a few nice baby beetroots here. We'll just have a few of those. There we are. Aren't they lovely? And those are delicious, either roast or else boiled and eaten whole. I like them hot. Now, this is the Tuscan kale, Cavolo Nero. It's supposed to be really good for you, and I know it's trendy to make into juices and whatever, but I love it just as a cooked vegetable. And if you take the outer leaves, it encourages new growth. But this time of year, it grows quicker than we can eat it. There we go. Right, we've done the main course, now for pudding. I know at this time of year, especially with Wimbledon, strawberries are the great treat, but I tell you what, there isn't a strawberry in the land that you can buy that will taste as good as a homegrown strawberry, eaten warm from the sun, grown in your own garden. And that taste and that smell takes you back to childhood, it takes you down to those special occasions, but that satisfaction of growing something yourself and then enjoying it at the perfect moment of ripeness. It's one of the greatest pleasures of gardening.